Hey, I'm Podcast Nate, and I'm inviting you to join the podcast revolution. I took my first podcast, The Sobriety Diaries, from launch to the top 3% globally in the first 90 days, and I've created a simple framework to help you achieve the same. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking for an additional stream of revenue or a creator expanding your platform, let's revolutionize your world one episode at a time. Welcome back to the podcast revolution. I am here with Bridget Hom, entrepreneur, coach, speaker, beautiful soul, friend of mine. It could go on and on. We just had an in-depth conversation about our recovery. You can check out that full conversation on the Sobriety Diaries. I will link that in today's show notes. Welcome, Bridget. I'm so excited to chat business.
Me too. It's one of my favorite subjects.
You've been so helpful thus far in our relationship as far as motivation and tips and tricks as a baby entrepreneur. And I'm excited to see where our relationship takes us. And I want to chat about all of the above. So welcome to the podcast revolution. I want to start with the transition from corporate America to perhaps realizing you had bigger and better aspirations, and what that transition looked like for you.
What a great question. Man, that's a loaded question.
It's loaded, I know.
I'm like, where do I begin? Well, I was never cut out for the 9 to 5. I found that every time I was up for a conversation about a job, I would either go into it saying, I mean, even my first job, let's go there. Let's start there.
Yeah.
First job, Hermano's Macaroni Grill. Did you know the place, Hermano's?
Yes, I loved it.
Can't just walk up to a waitress and ask her out.
I was 18 and I walked in, I got an interview, and I was so frustrated and sick of doing these interviews. And so it was a very Italian man who looked like he was in the mafia, Bob. He goes, what can you do for me here? And I said, I can do anything you need me to do here.
I can do anything. I'm the chief of police.
I mean, that level of confidence, and it's like, what did I just say? No, I can't do all these other things. But I was like, I will learn, right? I'm teachable, I'm likable, I'm trainable. And so he's like, great. And so I started that job, and that confidence continued with me. And so any job that I ever wanted, I went after it with reckless abandon. I mean, above and beyond the normal path, I'd be like, listen, I want to work for you, and I could do anything you need me to do here. And that was really my go-to phrase. Fast forward was a domestic engineer, AKA a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
But you know what that is: team building skills, leadership skills, time management, excellent conflict resolution. I mean, there's a lot that goes into being a domestic engineer. But after that, I was actually on my way to getting divorced. And I had just launched a placement agency with a gentleman named Walter. And I actually met him on the salsa dancing floor.
Last month it was salsa dancing.
That's an important piece. I'm glad you added that.
Networking. You can network anywhere. And so,
right.
So he goes, Bridget, we're going to launch a business. And I'm like, Walter, I haven't worked for a decade. And he's like, don't worry, just be you anywhere we go. That's the best business advice I've ever gotten. Just be you, no matter what, because your skill set is what people need. And so we launched the placement agency. Fast forward to the reinvention evolution of 2020, as I like to call it.
I love the way that you put that. You got to spin it positive, right? It has, besides the terrible, health aspect of everything, it did introduce some positive aspects career-wise.
Well, exactly. And so I think for many people, this was the reinvention evolution. It was that it's like make moves or just stay stuck, right? And so I just became stuck on ready to make moves.
Yeah.
But it wasn't out of I would love to say it was out of pure motivation and ambition. It was not. It was out of I have no other way. There's nothing else opening up for me. I got to figure out and make moves for myself. And so at the time, Bridge to Freedom coaching was just a side hustle. I had 3 clients total. And I had my 3 boys at home in virtual school, which was a nightmare.
Yeah. How do you, all parents just had to become educators all of a sudden?
Yes. And but
Wow.
I had my soon to be ex-laws. My son's grandmother was able to help with that a little bit, which really took some of the pressure off because I am not a teacher.
Thank
Anyway,
goodness.
um,
Yeah.
thank God for that. But I got a random Zoom business networking link, Nate. And I know we've talked about Zoom business networking. I had no idea what a Zoom was. Did you know what a Zoom link was?
I did, just because of my past life in other arenas, but I know many didn't.
No, I had no idea. I figured it out though, and then showed up at 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning where the gentleman Brian goes, Bridget Hom, give your 30 seconds. And I'm like, dang it, he mispronounced my last name. What am I supposed to say? And it's funny because your mind makes decisions for you when you need to make moves. And if you give yourself the ability to take imperfect action, you will get massive results in your business. And so here's what happened next. I said, Bridget Hom here with Bridge to Freedom Coaching. Are
Mm.
you ready to level up? And I surprised myself, but there was no
Just
turn.
out of the gate.
Boom. Yes. And I had 6 clients within 6 weeks. My 90-day Find Your Freedom program was born. My self-paced programs were born, group coaching, live speaking engagements, group sales trainings, and the best-selling book stuck already. And here we are
Yes.
today.
Tell me about the book, because it is topical for me. I'm ready to, we're weeks, if not days away from my own launch, and the imposter syndrome is sneaking in, and the overwhelm is sneaking in, where I'm on sort of this precipice, this question mark, this new chapter of my life, and it's all starting with the book. So what was that launch like for you, and how did it open up new doors as far as entrepreneurship?
So, word of advice, I want to speak into imposter syndrome for a second.
Okay.
Because I was doing a sales webinar yesterday about closing prospects and all of this. And I think it hits every one of us as entrepreneurs at some point. And the truth is, how you stay right-sized and how you stay in the place of authenticity in business is holding on to the fact that you believe the person in front of you deserves more and better, more than anything. That feeling has to take over you. It has to overwhelm you. And you are going to do them a disservice if you don't share the more and better you absolutely believe they deserve. And so when you get into that place of empower people, you're able to step out of that fear or anxiety of not being authentic, because the authenticity becomes the empowerment.
Hey, want to start a podcast? Spotify has a platform that allows you to create one so easily you won't believe it. And the best part, it's totally free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to record, edit, and distribute your episodes right from your phone or computer. You can also add songs from Spotify's library, edit with cool transitions, and then hear your show on all the big networks, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more. You can also earn money through ads and subscriptions. And once again, for those in the back, it's completely free with no catch. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started today.
The energy that you're giving to that person in terms of information with the book. I wrote my book to empower and inspire the world of entrepreneurs to believe that they could do it. Like Napoleon Hill says, whatever you can conceive and believe you can achieve. I desperately wanted that for every entrepreneur seeking freedom, the 9-to-5ers who were afraid to take that leap, the successful entrepreneurs who need to get re-inspired, and so that's why I wrote it, so that more
Yes.
people can access. Look at, there I am in my white blazer. More people can access that inspiration apart from just working with me. And I believe the masses of entrepreneurs deserve to activate the law of deservability, as I wrote about, to the successful entrepreneur mindset and the ability to take imperfect action to get massive results in business growth.
So tell me where stuck on ready came from as a phrase and a mindset, and how we can embrace it and incorporate it.
So as entrepreneurs, we're so inspired by the people around us. It takes a village to raise a child, and I can attest to that. Sweet boys. But it takes a village to help an entrepreneur to grow their business energetically, the beauty of referral partnerships. And so the same gentleman, Brian, who said, Bridget Hom, give your 30 seconds. He's the one who always used to say, leaders are stuck on ready because it takes too long to get ready.
Mm.
And so he used to say, Bridget Hom is stuck on ready because it takes too long to get ready. And the truth is, the chef doesn't cook a meal until it's ordered, right? And so I started to develop the reality that entrepreneurship, in a sense, you've got to be stuck on ready to make moves before you feel ready to make moves. Because feelings aren't your friends in business, right?
So true.
You know that. So that's where it came from.
Makes me think of something else I saw on your website. It was taking the relationship out of business. Did I say that right?
Take the business out of the relationship so your relationship can bring you business. Yes.
Okay. Elaborate on that a little.
Well, relationships are built on relatability. They're not built, and relatability just means the ability to relate to others, to be human. And so I started with that because if we're in that mode of the transaction mentality versus transformation mentality, then in sales, which we all are in sales, in entrepreneurship, we're going to show up as that hungry salesperson. And, you have to be in a sales mentality to serve others with solutions. But if you're in that place of like, I want to grow my business, a prospect is going to pick up on that real quick. And they're going to see that you don't want them to experience transformation. You are going to introduce them to a transaction, and nobody likes a transaction mentality, not even us. Right. So I adopted that phrase just by saying it out of nowhere. It just came out of me because I was like, I need to empower this person in front of me no matter what. And it was like, it made sense for the people around me. They're like, oh, okay, I get it. This clicks. I need to experience relationship so that I have the opportunity to possibly bring them business or bring myself business, which will lead to more and better for both of us. It's that even exchange of energy.
That's so important, that even exchange of energy. I think in conversation and collaboration, business relationships, I think, you are going to meet someone where they are or give back what they're giving, sort of thing. I think the even exchange is so important.
Yes. And, I talk to business owners every week. I wanted to say that about that even exchange of energy. It starts with being able to pause with a purpose. And this is kind of going into the communication strategies. Can I inspire the entrepreneurs listening for a second?
I would love it.
Is that okay?
Please.
So one of the biggest problems that entrepreneurs face is that they feel like they have to create the content within the space with prospects. And really, you do that with your nonverbal energy. You do that with the ability to pause with a purpose and then ask powerful questions that typically don't begin with why.
Yeah.
Empowering questions begin with everything else other than why. And so if you could step into that, being able to pause with a purpose and listen well, because listening is the universal language of love and respect anyway. Step into that humanity and then flip half your statements into questions. You're going to create more empowering conversations, which will lead to revenue, relationships to revenue.
Today's episode of the Podcast Revolution is brought to you in part by StreamYard. StreamYard has everything you need to create a branded experience with your content. Logos, brand colors, music, overlays, cool transitions, and more. Say goodbye to willy-nilly Wi-Fi connections. StreamYard uses live local recordings, so no matter what kind of connection you or your guest has, you're getting studio quality audio and video for your podcast recording. Click the link in today's show notes for $10 off any package when you subscribe to StreamYard today. Networking has been such an important part of your own professional growth and something that you sort of teach as a pillar of entrepreneurial growth as well. What are some quick tips for listeners as far as networking yourself online, seeking out networking opportunities, and how to capture or sell yourself in a non-salesy way? A loaded question, I know, but networking, let's talk about the importance of it.
When it comes to networking, there's a couple of ways you want to think about it. As an entrepreneur, you want to first think, how can I adopt activities that monetize my influence? So you don't want to see relationships without being attached to revenue. So that's the first step. So you want to go into networking groups, Zoom business networking, if your business is online or can be a hybrid, and you want to do it in such a way that is focused on empowering and inspiring and educating the people around you. You also want to be engaging. So I always say, start with an amazing 30-second pitch. And now, before you think that's salesy, no, it's more than, it's not salesy, it's inspirational. You want to inspire the people around you. And most of us get stuck in that place of lack of inspiration. Hi, my name is so-and-so. And don't introduce your name first. Nobody cares who you are. They don't care who I am until they know what I could do for them, what you can do for them. So start with a question and just go. If you actually ask lots of questions to all the people that are on your calendar, which third networking tip, get people on your calendar.
Yes.
Have a calendar link. That's very, very important. Then you can create that intentional space after they're inspired. Then you can empower them and educate them as to what more and better is based on your product, message, or service, and see if it's in alignment with what they desire and what you believe they deserve.
And people love to talk about themselves, right? And if you're genuinely curious in utilizing that information to build the relationship and in turn generate revenue, come on, it's a win-win.
Well, yeah. And money is just, so many people get hung up on money. Money is a form of energy. Most people would say, like, if I asked you, Nate, what's money, right? What would you say? Like,
I would say currency.
Yeah, currency, right? We'd say, or some people say, oh, I want money, or I've had a bad experience with it, or something. Like, most people tell themselves their limiting beliefs about money.
Sure.
But money is just energy, and you're either pulling it closer to you or repelling it based on what you think about it.
Bridget, let's end with how podcasting has helped in your own networking, or how you have sort of incorporated podcasting into your own business life.
All of my clients, I always suggest that they start getting on podcasts. Because especially for the coaches and consultants, I say, listen, you have not only a wow story, you have amazing information to share. And what better way to share it with the world than on a podcast? And, you could share your podcast on all of your networks, and then it gives people the opportunity to watch something that will influence their lives and business for the better. So I can't say enough good things. I love sharing space with podcasters like yourself, because you give us another way to amplify our influence so that the masses could get to more and better. That's the goal. More and
That's
better.
right.
All the time.
And I think podcasting has become this sort of new trusted form of digital content. And there are so many out there, and you can find whatever you need to in your own niche or industry. And I think it's a trusted, sort of personalized way to sell yourself in a non-salesy way.
Exactly. Because it's about alignment. I always say there's no such thing as acceptance or rejection in the world of sales and business. There's only alignment. So if someone's in alignment with your message or they're inspired by it, then by all means, reach out, take action. Don't let, hiring fear or sabotage on your mental team stop you. Fire them right now. You want to take imperfect action every single day to get to the more and better in your business. and your life.
Stuck on Ready, Bridget Hom, thank you so much. Again, so grateful that we are in each other's lives and so much more to come. I look forward to it. I will link everything that you need to know about Bridget in today's show notes. Let's be in touch soon, my friend. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, friends, for downloading today's episode. Stay tuned every Tuesday for new episodes highlighting the hottest equipment, production and editing tips, launching your show, pitching to sponsors, so much more. Everything you need that's involved in launching and monetizing a successful podcast. Subscribe to the Podcast Revolution now so you never miss an upload. Again, every Tuesday. Hit that follow button on Instagram at PodcastNate to submit your own questions on podcasting and to catch the latest updates on the show. Remember, friends, it's never too late to find your voice and use it. And let's revolutionize your world one episode at a time. Bye for now, friends.